Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Peter Vrionis, back with another episode of the Press Box Hat Trick. And today I got a special guest with me, Sara Parker, quarterback and captain of the Concordia flag football team. So, Sara, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of football on this channel as of right now. The Concordia Stingers football team has been doing great, and the same can be said about the flag football team, who are not getting as much coverage as they should be. So I just want to talk about your two tournaments that you've played so far. So you've won both of them, right?
Well, our
No.
first one we played in Sherbrooke. We
Mhm.
played we played 3 games that tournament. We lost our first game, and we've been undefeated ever since. So we're still waiting for that first matchup against UQAM again to see who's really the better team.
Yeah, well, 7-1 is nothing to laugh about, right? That's still pretty solid. So um, they are tournaments, right? That you guys are playing.
Well, the way it works this year, yeah, it's regular season games that are spread out over 4 weekends. So we call them tournaments, but basically they're just regular season games that we play a couple games in a row just to make it easier on the girls, so they don't have to play a couple games a week.
Mhm.
Because the league was so like last minute, it was only approved by the ISSQ in June. That didn't really give us a lot of time to prep and plan. So it makes it easier on the student athletes that aren't varsity athletes to actually play. So
Okay, and how long has this team been together, would you say?
it's the first year. It's the
The
first
first.
year that we play. Yeah, it's the first year that we have university flag. So basically, the way that that worked was that during the pandemic, we told ourselves, well, we have time to plan and try and get this at the university level because there are so many CJEPs that are playing flag, and we've been talking about getting at university for a long time. So what we did was that we made little executive committees for all the different schools. So I'm the president of the executive committee for the flag football team here at Concordia. And the student groups reached out to sports directors, club associates, and all that stuff to start the league. So that's how it started. We've been working really hard during the pandemic since actually November of 2020. We've been working on this, and here we are.
Yeah, well, I mean, the hard work paid off, and it's great. You know, it's great to have as many different sports as possible at Concordia and get as many athletes involved because it's very hard to play at the university level, no matter what you're doing. You know, so the more sports, the better, and it gives more people the chance to get involved, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you guys have been fantastic this season. Um, haven't gone much notoriety, but you've been quietly one of the more successful teams at Concordia this year, which honestly, I can say that the teams have been really good. Pretty much every team has been performing well. The football team has been surprising. The hockey teams are always good. Even the soccer teams have put in some good work, and rugby, we're always good at rugby. So, what do you think of the Stingers' athletics this year and their success?
Well, I think that we had a reset because of that year that we had off. And I feel like that leveled the playing field a lot more. So it makes it a lot more interesting, I'd say. So yeah, for sure. Because this year we're on campus, it's my second year at university. I've been definitely more involved in the athletics and getting to know the different teams and stuff, watching them play. So it's definitely been interesting, and it's really nice to see how students actually take their sports seriously and use it to stay in school also sometimes in some cases.
And I also want to mention this that Olivier Roy gets a lot of praise for being a star quarterback, and winning 3 Player of the Weeks in a row. But he's not the only star quarterback on campus. We'll put it there. Okay, we'll leave it right there. Uh, Also, I want to talk about your upcoming tournaments in Gatineau and Quebec City. Obviously, you have Gatineau this week, right?
Yeah.
So, do you play the same 4 teams every week, just in a different location? How does it work?
Yeah, so we have 7 teams this year playing in university. So we play those 6 teams. It depends. Every week it changes. So this week we play actually 3 of the same teams that we played last week at our last home tournament, and then we keep our 2 toughest games last, and then it's playoffs. So the schools that are actually playing are l'UQTR, L'UQO, we have Sherbrooke, l'Université Laval, us, l'Université de Montréal, and l'UQAM. So the only team that hasn't joined was McGill.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And as for the playoffs, how does that work?
The top 4 make the playoffs.
Top 4. Okay, so it's not a given. 7 teams. You guys really got to put in some work during the season if you want to make it.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm. And I want to ask you as well, how did you get into flag football? How did it all start?
When I started high school, I've always been involved in sports.
Hmm.
So in Sec 1, I told myself, well, I'm gonna try out for every single sport. So I did, and I actually ended up playing basketball and flag football. And since Sec 1, I've always been a quarterback, never played any other position. And I fell in love with it. And as it went on, I got more and more serious about it. And yeah, so that's how I got started. I started playing more competitively after high school. So when I graduated, they got me out to Team Montérégie selections. I played Team Quebec also. So it's really since the end of high school that I got more serious about it. Then I went to Champlain. They didn't have flags, so I got flag in there too. Started the flag football team at Champlain, and then university started the flag football team at Concordia. So everywhere I go, I
Yeah.
make sure that I play flag.
What I'm getting from this is that you're really determined and you want to play flag wherever you go.
Yeah, definitely,
That's
for sure.
awesome. The dedication is off the charts. And I also saw that on your Instagram you had a pic of Flag Football Canada. I'm not sure if I'm wrong, but
Uh, yeah, so I've been involved with Team Quebec. I played U18, I coached U16, and I also played U20. And then as soon as you're 21 and older, you play senior. And senior ball is only Team Canada. So basically, we created this university league just to keep up with other countries because in the States, we already have college flag. And just to keep up with the trend and make sure that we're competitive when we can get to those really big international competitions, we wanted to make sure that we stayed on top of our stuff and that our athletes were practicing hard and making sure that we stay at that level. So yeah, I played Team Canada last January, so January 2020, before the pandemic. And so yeah, I've been involved with them a little bit. I'm actually a speaker for their women and girls football conference tomorrow. So just talking about opportunities for girls to play flag or football, and yeah, because I mean it's a male dominant sport, right? So it's important for us to actually prove ourselves and show them that we can compete too.
yeah, that's definitely amazing for sure. It is a male dominant sport. It's violent. It's well, flag football, I wouldn't say it's violent, but it definitely is physical, right? It's definitely
Yeah,
physical.
for sure.
And I wanted to ask you, have you ever tried any other position besides quarterback, or did it just not interest you?
It's not that it didn't interest me. I
Yeah,
think it's because a lot of girls maybe don't think about going quarterback as a first position just because of the pressure and all that stuff that comes with it.
yeah,
Um, so I'd say I've always been the only one on the team to actually play that position full time. So I've never actually tried another position, no.
yeah. And you don't want to be a two-way player. You don't want to play on defense as well.
Uh, I trust my defense. I'd rather just
No, as
focus on my game on
team
offense. Yeah,
captain, you should want to do as much as you can, right?
yeah, but I have confidence that
Yeah.
our defense can do a lot better than I can do. So
Really? Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Another thing that I want to ask you is, once flag football got started, was it hard to find players, and how did you end up finding players to come join the squad?
Okay. So I'd say in other schools it was a lot easier. They had like almost 100 players show up, even sometimes like 80 to 90 to 100 players would show up to schools to try out.
Yeah.
We were one of the schools that had the least. We had, I think, 26 players showed up, and the roster, we have 16 players on the roster. So that means that we didn't cut many girls. Um, and a lot of our players were actually offensive players. So we had to form them and teach them how to play defense. At the university level, like that's a big challenge for our coaches. And our coaching staff was like really amazing.
Yeah.
They, our defense is amazing now. It's crazy. Our safety was actually a quarterback. So just using her vision of the field and all that stuff really helped. And she's doing really good. I think she has like maybe 15 picks this season, like something crazy like that. It's insane. And I'm super proud of my girls. Really, like I feel like we were maybe a little bit underestimated just because of the fact that we weren't a lot at our selection, and the fact that we can prove to them like we're here to compete, like we're going for the championship is a really nice thing to see. The girls are super motivated. They love like we love each other like a family. It's really like the student athlete experience that I wanted. It's that and even better. So I'm super happy.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely, you're obviously very dedicated. You run the Instagram page, right? The Concordia Flag Football Instagram page. And as for your coaching staff, it's kind of rare to see a full-on coaching staff for a club team, basically, right? So speak to their commitment as well.
Okay. Well, our head coach, Alexis Labonté, he coached Team Quebec at different levels. He's used to coaching competitively, and actually also I forgot to mention that it's 5-on-5 flag, which is international flag. It's not the same flag football as we play in CJET. So it's it's the kind of flag that we play when we play provincially and internationally, just to make sure that we're used to the playing that type of game when we get to those levels. So he was used to coaching that type of flag. Made him come in, also super motivated. I was actually on a Zoom call last night with my offensive coordinator. We were doing game tape to get ready for this weekend. So they're super, super on their stuff, notes about every single game. Our defense, our defensive coaches, our defensive coordinator. Like I said, she formed our defense with mostly offensive players. She did amazing. And we also have our assistant coach. She actually played Team Canada before I did. And so yeah, she loved flag too. So she transmits her passion to us too.
Mm. Really
Yeah.
accomplished staff for sure. And your
Mm-hmm.
safety, 15 picks in 8 games.
Well, I threw a number out there because we don't count our stats, but
I was
she's
gonna say,
insane.
like,
She's insane.
what's going on with the other quarterbacks on the other team? Like, do they
They're
know?
not bad. No.
Do they know who they're going to? That's impressive, though. That's she's probably around that number if you threw it out there,
Yeah,
right? So
definitely.
yeah. So 26 players showed up and you kept 16. So that must
Yeah,
mean maybe you didn't have the, I would say, the volume that you wanted, but the quality was definitely there, right?
yeah, for sure. And I think quality isn't really the most important thing. I think it's more of the dedication and the motivation, and that's really something that they showed us. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And what about the team chemistry? You guys said you're a lot like a family and you play for one another. So that's a big factor in it as well, right?
Hmm. Well, just because we're a small team, I feel like it's easier to get to know each other really well, and it's just we're just one unit, one family. Just it's I don't even know how to describe it. It's just it's it's perfect. Like we drive each other, we motivate each other. Someone has a bad practice, we just lift each other's spirits up. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, it's important stuff for sure. And as for
Yeah.
next season, obviously you want to do this again, right? And
Mhm.
how is the schedule going to work? Do you think it's going to be the same format where you travel to four different places and you play a couple of games, or do you think it's going to be stretched out over the course of the year?
That's a good question. Um, when we used to when we were responsible for the whole thing, so we thought it was going to be just a club sport that ISSQ wasn't going to get involved or anything. We weren't necessarily going to do that kind of format. Um, but since the ISSQ kind of took control of the whole league, they're responsible for like booking fields and making the schedule and getting us reps and all that stuff. So I say it's not really in our hands. I don't know what next season's gonna be like, but even if it's like this season, like, it's okay. It takes me a couple days to get over 4 games in a row, but I'll manage it. If I can play flag, I'll do it.
Hey, 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 come on, you're young. You don't need I don't want to start hearing complaints about like injuries and stuff like that. You still got a lot left in the tank. That's for sure.
Definitely gonna play for as long as I can.
Yeah, keep it up. Keep it up. Thanks again for joining me, Sarah. I really appreciate it. And good luck to you and the girls. And we'll be rooting for you the rest of the way.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
No problem. We'll do this again soon.